I was like a career criminal, worse than just drinking and drugging. My money and my addictions were paid for by, selling drugs and being, and I can say that now because all the cops are my friends. Today, that's a different story. All the narcotics guys are buddies of mine now, so it's cool. I can lose $200,000. I can get in an argument with my wife. I can fight with my employees. I can lose a huge project. All types of that kind of stuff. None of that is as bad as it was the day before I got sober. Go and look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you done? And I went into the bathroom and I asked myself that question. And for the first time in probably, I don't know, a long time, maybe 15 years, maybe even longer, I cried. Hitting rock bottom, getting sober, going to David Lawrence Center, volunteering at St. Matt's House was a huge culture shock for someone like me. I told you my routine. I'm up at 4, prayer, meditation, coffee by myself before anybody wakes up. I do my cold plunge, my breathing, my grounding, my outside breath work, my biohacking stuff. I hit the gym in the morning. I go to work. Before I even do all that, the day before, I've wrote out everything I need to do. Her mom says, all right, we got something we need to talk about. And she grabs this folder with all these papers in it, and all these mug shots and all this stuff, right? Wow. And my wife's like, no, don't do it, Mom. This is great. She's freaking out. I'm like, babe, it's cool. It's cool. There's nothing in there that I'm ashamed of. Right? That stuff doesn't make me who I am today. That stuff is who I used to be. And he can take anything that's bad and spin it into gold if I'm willing to look at it from a different perspective. And that to me is what I've learned, getting to know Christ and getting to know how to live, differently. Is that I can take any situation, I can find the bad in it, or I can spin it into gold and I can find the good in it.
Today's guest is someone whose story reads like a redemption song with a fierce beat of purpose. Blake Becker is a man who's lived many lives, from the depths of addiction and incarceration to the heights of entrepreneurship, mentorship, and spiritual awakening. His journey from rock bottom to radiant light is a testament to what's possible when grit meets grace. He's not just building high-end luxury spaces, he's building lives, beginning with his own and pouring into others with radical love, honesty, and discipline. You're about to meet a man who reminds us that no one is too far gone and that the comeback is always stronger than the setback.
He did, I think it was the Naples Illustrated first.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to do your podcast. I want to be the first. I want you to be the first person that does an interview with me.
Yeah.
Other than the magazine. I've already granted them the first right, but
yeah.
It was cool. I mean, that was like at that time, my podcast, I learned that my podcast was doing nothing really, but my YouTube channel was doing great, but I was still doing them. And I was just honored that he wanted to do that one.
Yeah.
He was ready to come and talk.
Yeah. And you could see the chemistry between the two of you, that you have a deep friendship. I could see the bond and the way he spoke of you, and his relationship with you and that event together. And just, I think you had a big part of his growth, his going from, taking that leap of faith into entrepreneurship where he had a steady, good income and, working at a good restaurant and just took that
and he leap. He was my mentor too on a lot of different things. He taught me how to be, he taught me how to be a professional. Honestly, he taught me how to be professional. He taught me how to really take my showmanship to the stage, so to speak. Whether the stage is a magazine shoot, whether the stage is a dinner, whether the stage is an Instagram post, that every detail had to be professional. Because I saw people, I was doing all his social media before social media was really a thing. If you saw pictures of Crave back in 2000 I got sober 2011, so 2013, 2014, if you saw anything on Instagram or Facebook with Crave, it was most likely my pictures or the photographers, that hired photographers.
Okay.
So, and we were watching people put out, obviously other caterers and stuff, putting out pictures. They were like, one of them was blurry and the heads were chopped off of people. And we were like, man, if that's what you are putting out to the public, I can only imagine what you're doing in your kitchen. You know what I mean? Like, that to me shows that you don't care what people see, right? And so Brian taught me every detail. Every perfect picture needs to be perfect. So I would like take all the pictures out the event, do the event, work the event, clean up, go home, and then I would go home at night and edit all my pictures and then post them for the next day. So I learned a lot about social media.
And that was at the beginning of it all, really, because that didn't happen that way. Social media wasn't.
I was like one of the
that.
only people on Instagram, I think, in the whole company at that time, 2014.
Yeah.
Not that Instagram hadn't been around for a little bit, but Instagram wasn't the Instagram that it is now.
Yes.
You know, most people were on Facebook.
Right.
I think there was another social media site people were using for videos that was kind of popular at the time. It was just videos. You could scroll up.
It was pre-TikTok. It was
something like
the company
that.
Before that.
It was like a
Vine.
Vine. That's what it was. So people were on Vine. There was a handful of people on Vine. Yeah. But it was mostly Facebook. And then Instagram started to take off. And then, then of course it's just gone nuts after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were all things back then to him too. You were doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. But all that stuff, I look back, every one of those things that I got to do, like I'm a big believer in God and Christ, and I see the plan, I see the journey, the road He made me travel.
Yeah.
So all those things I had to do. I had to get sober first of all to go to St. Matthew's house. Yeah. After St. Matthew's house, I had to go to Brian to get training on how to be something. And then from Brian, I had to leave and take the leap of faith and start my own business. And from there, I had to meet a guy in construction who still my mentor to this day, who I used to cook for with Brian.
Right.
He was one of Brian's clients, who now owns a huge construction company, right? So I had to start working for him. He hired me to do jobs, and then he became my mentor. I mean, for like finance and business and construction and how to do things in construction. Took me from where I was doing small projects, maybe I'll say $10,000 to $30,000 to $1 million projects. I mean, he told me, showed me the game on how to elevate and be high-end luxury remodel and build. So every one of those steps along the way, and then all that social media journey and all that stuff where I learned how to market Brian's business, and I learned how to market St. Matthew's business. I learned how to market my own business, start my own business, and built my business based off of social media.
Yeah.
And then went into, what I'm doing now. This is like that journey I had to travel that path to get where I am right now, where I could do all this stuff and see it. So
you said it was God's plan, but you went through some rough patches there. And how did you get to the rough patch? And then how did you get from there?
Yeah, well, obviously I got to St. Matthew's house because of being an alcoholic and a drug addict from the time I was 15 till the time I was 30. Went to the David Lawrence Center for treatment, went to a 28-day program. They introduced me to 12-step programs and volunteering and service work and places to go after you leave there. And one of the places that was so integrated in David Lawrence was the St. Matthew's house. And I didn't live at the St. Matthew's house, but I stayed there volunteering. So I didn't have a job. I had never really worked other than for my family and my family business, which was basically my dad giving me some money to kind of survive, So I didn't have a job. When I got out of treatment, I didn't have a job, and I didn't really want a job. I wanted to focus on staying sober because I had quit drinking and drugging 100 times and then fallen flat on my face again. So they said this time, I heard this time, they've said it to me a lot of times, but I heard this time, really dive into these programs to help yourself. And so I knew if I went and hung out with my old friends, I was doomed, So I went to the St. Matthew's house and I met some people that were going to 12-step meetings that worked at St. Matthew's house, and I just hung out there. And I learned how to cook. I kind of knew how to cook for myself. I liked cooking. My dad taught me how to cook. He was a big gourmet chef TV show watcher. So we would always try, how to cook duck and how, all the different things. And, we made all these amazing holiday meals and stuff. So I had a love for food. And so these two chefs that were in Sobriety and in these 12-step programs invited me to come to St. Matt's for lunch. And I came for lunch one time, and they're like, "Man, you should hang out here with us. It's safe here, And I did. I hung out and I stayed, and I hung out there every single day that I could until they offered me a job. And then I took a job there, which was cool because I was doing it for free. I was volunteering, and then I was like, well, $12 an hour sounds great. I've been doing it. I was willing to do it for free. Now you're going to pay me $12 an hour. So excited to make $12 an hour. So I worked 20 hours a week at $12 an hour, and then I volunteered 20 hours a week for free. And that's how I got hired at St. Matthew's House. Yeah.
But you were 15 years of drinking and drugging.
Hard drinking and drugging. I was like a career criminal. Worse than just drinking and drugging. I made my money and my addictions were paid for by, selling drugs and being, and I can say that now because all the cops are my friends. Today, that's a different story. All the narcotics guys are buddies of mine now, so it's cool. And the undersheriff, Jim Bloom's a good friend of mine today. So,
great guy. What an awesome human he
Sheriff
is.
Ramboss, good friend. How the tables have turned, from getting sober.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I was a hardcore criminal. I really was. In and out of jails from the time that I was 15 years old until the time that I was 30. Multiple arrest for interstate trafficking and I mean big stuff, Tennessee and federal charges. And I had a bunch of crap, man. Bunch of stupid stuff. I took that lifestyle to the extreme. So it wasn't just alcohol and drugs. It was the criminal world was that I liked that, that underworld scene, and I got wrapped up in it pretty bad. So hitting rock bottom, getting sober, going to David Lawrence Center, volunteering at St. Matt's House was a huge culture shock for someone like me.
Well, with the bottom, how did you know it was the bottom? Like, what clicked for you that this is time now?
Well, I was facing 6 years in prison again. I was facing hard time again, and they gave me the out. They told me I could go to drug court, and I could reduce my sentence and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, you know what? I want to do it. Like I was 30 years old. I was 30 when all this happened. And I was like, man, I think I've had enough of this crap. I really have. I know better. My conscience is telling me better. I need to do something different. And so I said, okay, I'll go into drug court. And they said, okay, fine. So I went in and met Judge Martin. Love Judge Martin. And she said, okay, cool. I just need you to be sober next week. And I was like, no problem. 6 years of prison over my head. I'll be sober next week. So what I did was went home, right, and said, I'm not drinking, I'm not drugging until next Tuesday. And that lasted about 4 days until the shakes and the uncomfortableness got so bad I had to drink. And so I went in, she goes, are you sober? And I said, no. I said, I tried, and I couldn't. She goes, okay, that's fine. We get it. People struggle with that. Next week, I want you to be, I really need you next week. So, of course, did the same thing. All this, self. I can do this myself. Went home. White-knuckled, 4 or 5 days. Come Sunday, come Monday, I'm so uncomfortable, I'm wound up, and drink. So I drink, and I go in on Tuesday, and I was like, hey, I can't do this. She goes, that's fine. She says, we're going on a 2-week break. There was a week off of drug court or something. She goes, so you got 2 weeks. The next Tuesday, if you can't come in here sober, offer's off the table. So I had 2 weeks, which you give an alcoholic of my type 2 weeks to get sober. I'm going to get sober the day before. So I went crazy for 2 weeks and then tried to sober up a couple days before. It didn't work. And I met my attorney on the steps of the courthouse, and I told him, I said, I'm not even going up there. Just tell her to give me my time and catch me when you can. And that was my mindset. Catch me. I know I'm going to run from the law until they catch me, and then I'll go do my prison time. And that was my mindset. That was it. It wasn't a big aha moment. It wasn't a car accident or anything crazy like that. It was, I know that I can't do this anymore. So I left the courthouse that day, and
never went up to see her. You left.
Told my attorney, said, I expected to get my full sentence because I told them, I can't get sober. So my attorney went up and told them, hey, he's saying that he doesn't. He can't do this. He can't get sober to go ahead and convert his time, or whatever. And unbeknownst to me, Judge Martin is a saint, and we're good friends today as well. She called David Lawrence Center and, made sure that they would have a bed for me in Detox. And I didn't know that. So I went off on a little bit of a run and then David Lawrence called me, like, I don't know, 24 hours later. It was like, hey, your bed's ready. And I was like, what? You know, not expecting that. And then went in and my bed was ready for me. So I went in and dried out. And
that was to Detox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dried out and went to the 28-day program and then started volunteering at St. Matt's. And
you went right from after Detox, then they had a bed for you in the 28-day program or at David Lawrence?
Yeah. So I was in Detox for 10 days. So September 8th, which was a couple of days ago, 2011, I went into Detox for 10 days. I woke up on September 11th. I went in on the 8th and I woke up on the 11th. That tells you a little bit of how I drank and drug.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Woke up on September 11th. It was the 10-year anniversary. Yep, 2011. And I remember waking up and seeing the TV and there was people talking about September 11th, which is tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And 14 years ago. So, and I kind of came out of my fog on the 15th. So that's what I remember. On the 15th, they took me over to treatment. And that's my sobriety date, September 15th, 2011. So that's when I consider myself sober because that's when I really like came to, you know.
Was there something on that day when you got there that you knew you had surrendered, or was there?
It's funny how it works. Your brain is like deals with trauma in certain ways, right? I don't remember a lot of Detox because, like I said, it was super foggy. But I do remember a group of people came in, and they asked some questions and they told some stories and different stuff like that from a 12-step group. And I went into the bathroom. I didn't remember this till after I was sober for a while. Because my brain was too foggy at that time.
Yeah.
But they asked some questions, and I went into the bathroom, and I looked myself in the mirror, and I'm trying to remember what the question was. Oh, are you done? The guy said, are you done? Go and look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you done? And I went into the bathroom, and then I don't know if you've ever been in a treatment facility, but they're very safe.
To drop my father off. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Like they don't have real glass mirrors.
Yeah.
Like, people can't break them and cut themselves. Like they're institutionally protected, you know.
Yeah.
Sort of like a semi-shiny piece of metal, right? You could kind of see your reflection.
It's not a real mirror. I know.
No,
I know
you know
what
what
you're
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I looked myself in the mirror, and everything was it's kind of a foggy look. And I asked myself that question, and for the first time in probably, I don't know, a long time, maybe 15 years, maybe even longer, I cried. And that was it. I was like, I think that was my turning point. Because I had discovered that after being sober for a while. I had to find that memory.
Yeah.
And I remembered. I was like, oh, I remember. Looking in that mirror, I asked myself that question.
Yeah.
You know, am I done? And I knew that I was. I think at that point I knew that I was, but I had no idea what it was going to take to stay sober and not go back to that vice that had been so comfortable for so long.
Yeah. Now you get to your, was it 28-day program? You get to your 28th day and you got to go out in the world. What was that like?
Super uncomfortable. Super uncomfortable. Because I'm used to being around, you know, junkies and losers. That's what I was. So being in a detox where everybody's medicated and laying around, flopped out, that's like a normal, right? And they took us into the next facility, right, where you got to like wear decent clothes, and they're gonna there's classes, and you got to follow directions, you know, and then they take you out to 12-step meetings, different ones, you know, CA, NA, AA. They take you to
CAs, which ones?
Cocaine Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. What do you call it? Narcotics Anonymous. So, I mean, they take you to a variety of different ones so that all the different types of people can pick where they think is going to be best for them to find their comfortability. So, yeah, that was quite the experience. And then, you know, before you know it, you get kind of comfortable, you get used to it, you get to know a few people, and, you know, the stuff kind of wears off and the reality sets in. And 28 days is a long time, but not a long time at the same time. Yeah. You know? And that's when I went to St. Matt's. And that's when I...
Right from there,
I met these two chefs, Eric and Kevin, were everywhere. Everywhere that they took us, those two guys were there, you know? And I was like, oh, these guys are kind of cool. You know, they were just they were fun. They were smoking cigs. They were like, they were just like normal guys. They seemed to be having a good time, and so they were like, man, you should join us. Like, come over to St. Matt's. I was like, this sobriety stuff can be fun, and they made it attractive. So I went and started hanging out with those guys, and then I fell in love with the homeless shelter and giving back and service, and and then I did that. I did that for 2 years actually.
How did you keep your old friends away? How did you?
By hiding out in that homeless shelter. The people I ran with are not coming to a place where there's cops and security and that kind of stuff. And it was funny. The longer I stayed there, the longer I worked there, the more of those people I would see get in trouble, the more of those people I would see, in passing. Some of them came into the shelter because they were homeless, you know what I mean? Or got out of jail and had no place to go, so they stayed there for a few nights. Yeah. And the more I saw it, the more I became almost disgusted with my own life before, the life I had before. And the people I saw, I was like, man, I want no part of that anymore.
Wow.
So like what happened in that bathroom, that aha moment, or that surrender moment, or that waking up moment, definitely turned me towards the right path. Because when I saw that kind of stuff and I saw the people from my past, I was like, man, I'm so glad I'm sober. And it just drove me to do more and do more and do more. And, we kind of had like a almost immediate success when we started the St. Matthew's House Catering. I mean, within months, we were on the cover of the newspaper and doing stuff with Brian Roland. And, it was just like one thing led to another. We were doing the fashion show. And we were doing some really fun stuff, like almost immediately. And so that push of success, plus the, just being sober, that first year being sober, everything was new and exciting, so it was good. And then of course meeting Brian, and then Brian and I became friends and going to work. I was working for St. Matt's, and then I turned in my resignation and gave a 2-week notice. And of course I got, everyone was so happy to see me go, and, grow and be successful. And then started working for Brian at Crave in his first year of business. He did way more than he expected. I remember him and I meeting at, I think we met at maybe a Starbucks or something. I don't remember. We met somewhere, and then we met again, and we were just talking about ideas. And then I met him at Food and Thought, him and Nicole, and they're like, hey, we really want you to, come on board. And we made that decision, and, we had these plans and these ideas and these thoughts of what, and then like, I remember having our yearly reviews, and we surpassed like everything you could have possibly imagined, the things we got to do. Working for celebrities and doing big events, and Crave Culinary is probably the biggest catering company in Southwest Florida. I mean, it's massive. Yeah. And so to be there in its infancy, right, and to be part of the creative meetings and driving in a direction where it was going to do stuff differently because of Brian's leadership. Brian has a way of entertaining and perfecting things and doing things that where quality matters, and production, and it all has this way, and so like following him, and he has so many, and has had so many great employees over the past years, to help him to get where he is.
I think it's interesting that you had all these victories and success around you. You didn't even know your sober self was creating all that. Like your sober self, the power of your sober self was attracting all this and creating all this.
That's where I believe God is I believe in God now. I mean, my faith has grown enormously. Next Monday, right, the 15th, I'll have 14 years of sobriety. So my faith has grown since all that. His hand has been in every single part of it, right? His hand has been in every single part of it prior to me getting sober, but I couldn't see it, right? So him putting me in those places to grow and be instrumental in the creativity and all this stuff, and put Brian in my life, and there's been so many other mentors as well, but all these different things, they put and he put in my path so that I can learn and grow, and to then become the person that sits here today. I'm a firm believer that every single one of those days I had to go through was handcrafted by my Creator. Which is awesome. And then going from working at Crave, and doing all that stuff and learning and meeting all the people I did there helped me start my business. I mean, I met my wife she was working for Brian. She came in as an event planner. For like the last year I worked there, she was an event planner, and we were crossing paths at work and this, that, and the other thing. And of course fell in love, and Brian and Nicole knew it. Like, they didn't know it at first, but then they found out. They kind of knew it. So, that's part of our little friendship joke, is like they helped create our marriage and our success, so.
And you have children?
We have one. We have one child. Yeah.
How old?
Yeah, Olivia, 6.
Olivia,
yeah,
6, okay.
Yeah, she's awesome.
How old is Remy? How old is that?
I want to say she's 3, maybe 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 3, I believe. Almost 4.
So
I'm horrible.
What do you do when life gets hard, or when something doesn't go the way you're, it's not there? Like, what's your, because I've seen, growing up in an alcoholic family and with my father, I've just seen him, be his willpower ways, trying to do it all on his own, and, sail and everything's good. And then, I remember one time Frank Sinatra died, and that was his trigger.
Yeah.
And I went over to the house and I was like,
Italian?
Dad, what are you doing?
Was he Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. I mourned that day too, right?
I went to his house and I saw the Absolute bottle out. And I was like, Dad, what are you doing? He said, Frank died. Like, Frank.
Gotta have one for Frank.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like in that instant, just that one.
People think it's a weakness. People that have never experienced, right? And there's 2 different types of people, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if there's scientific facts, but when you cannot control your alcohol, the way I feel an alcoholic, can't, I don't have the choice, Something like that triggers me, and then I'm off to the races, right? So sometimes it's success, sometimes it's failure, sometimes it's disappointment, sometimes it's a birthday, you know what I mean? So basically anything can trigger me if I'm not treating my alcoholism, So basically that's my mindset about that. So I was taught early on, that you have to have a support network. You can't do this by yourself. That when you are feeling those type of ways, you have to reach out and talk about it and ask for help. And if you don't, you're putting yourself at risk to going back to that drink or that drug. And so that's the most important thing, is that never losing track of that support network. And my support network has changed. I mean, it was a handful of people when I started, and it's gotten bigger. And now I'm surrounded by a whole new network of people. And the funny thing about it is, like, not drinking is becoming a popular thing.
It really is.
Like biohacking and health and all this, like taking care of your self. And a lot of my friends who are normal drinkers, because I'm in the public eye these days. I'm all over the place. I'm traveling. I'm doing different things, big events. So 85% of the people that I come across are what I would call normal people that don't have a problem with alcohol or drugs, and but even half of them are like, man, I'm not drinking for 2 months, I feel so much better, and or when I have a couple drinks, I feel like crap, and you know, so it's funny how all that's got me to here, and that I'm hanging out with people that are like either normal drinkers or like people who just don't drink, and they're supportive that I'm sober, and they get it. You know what I mean? Like all those people, they think it's awesome, and so.
It's become a thing now to not drink. It's actually it's like, oh, you're not drinking?
Yeah. And no one, the way society's kind of formed and changed over the years, no one's judgmental that way.
No, not at all.
You used to be like, oh, come on, man, have a drink.
Yeah.
Like, people say, I'm not drinking. It's like, oh, cool. And they don't bat an eye at it. It's not like, come on, man, come on.
Yeah.
There's no pressure like that anymore. People were just cool with it.
Yeah.
Like I actually just did I was hosting a beer tasting thing at Seat to Table on Monday night. And I was, of course, I wasn't drinking, but I was getting people to try 2 different types of beer. One is brand new that's coming out, and then the other one has been around for a long time. And so I was trying to get my friends that I know drink, and like half of them were like, no, I'm on a no drink thing, man. I'm like, come on, I need you guys. We're shooting today. I need you guys to capture this for me. There's so many people weren't drinking,
Yeah.
It's one of those things, man. You know? And I think someone told me recently there's a study that says that alcohol and liquor consumption is down.
Yeah.
And like dramatically.
Just reading that,
Yeah. So, which is good. I mean, I think people are definitely in this phase of life are a lot more health conscious.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that I think alcoholism or isms are in the genes in some format. I had it coming to me or in my family. I know.
I'm a believer in that. I definitely believe, like, if you shake my family tree, a bunch of bottles and stuff fall out. You know what I mean? So like, it's definitely in my family. But then again, you got people like my sister, has 3 or 4 beers, doesn't faze her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me, 3 or 4 beers, I'm off to Miami. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's a different story.
How it hits. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. My mom, she might have 1 or 2 glasses of wine. My dad, hard liquor. It just so it really depends. My grandparents on my dad's side didn't drink at all, like at all.
Yeah.
My grandmother on my mom's side, or her mom, like whatever, she liked to drink, but 4 or 5 drinks, put it away, no big deal. So it's weird. It's a weird thing, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. If you got it, you got it, and you better know about it.
Yeah.
Because it can affect you. And that's the biggest thing that I feel today is I know that's my problem. And as long as I take care of it, it's not a problem.
How do you handle it for yourself when you see it in others and they're on that little something goes off inside you and you see that there's something there that whether it's an employee, coworker, somebody in life?
Well, obviously my first instinct is to help. What can I do to help? What can I do to share my story to help? But at the same time, I don't want to overstep my boundary as well, because I remember how people were when I was in my crazies. You try to come up and tell me I need to stop doing something, you're going to get the bad side of me. I'm going to tell you where to go and how to do it. So I respect that. I will interject in the sense of letting them know where I am and who I am and how I am, and if they need help or whatever. If the time feels right. And people come to me a lot of times and say, "Hey, man, I got a buddy or a friend, or I got da. And if it's the right time or place, I'll jump in and try to help. So
I remember vividly, my father's struggles to get sober. He would many times tell me I'm ready, and I'd take him and drop him. I remember dropping him off. There was a center in Fort Myers that's not there anymore. He was ready, and we went up to go there. I drove him, which I was excited. He was going to go into a program, and when we got there, they said, it's going to be about a half hour before we can get you in here. It was 9:30 in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. And he started getting the shakes. And, I said, can you speed this up a little? We're waiting in the waiting room. Can you hurry this up? He's shaking, and sorry, it's going to be a little bit. She said, but there's a bar right across the street, and maybe you should go there. And we went across the street, ordered 2 straight vodkas, giant, chugged them down just to get the shakes gone. And,
I'm not laughing at him.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So we have a statement that says, we laugh at seemingly tragic things.
Yeah.
And why shouldn't we? Because we've got from under. Right. So that's not a laugh of that's a laugh of understanding.
No, I get it. Yeah, I know you do.
Taking people to a bar to hold them off before I got them into Detox.
Yeah.
I know what that's like. I also know from having the shakes what it's like. But I also know the freedom and the blessing and the life that can be given when you make that decision to stop,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had gone on multiple journeys, and he was so... One time he was at the Willow and had no money, and he snuck out and got a cab to drive him home, and with no money, he talked the guy into taking him home. And, he was in and out trying to do it many times.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the most vivid time, and probably the one that stuck with him was Thanksgiving Day. And an employee of ours who was one of our senior leaders, an extraordinary guy who was in recovery and just was a tremendous inspiration, because he was in a 12-step program, and he just the way he was so inspirational to all of us. And he had always said he wanted to help my dad, but when my dad was ready, and I called him up to say, "Hey, Jerry,
that's what they teach us, man."
Yeah,
that's what they teach us.
I said, Jerry, he said, "I'm not the guy. I'll help your dad, but I'm not the guy. He's not going to listen to me the same way he's going to listen to a peer."
Yeah,
that's what he said. He said, "But I'll get somebody. I'll call somebody." He calls this guy who's on Marco Island, putting the turkey in the oven. The guy says, "I'll be there in 40 minutes. He put the turkey down, drove to my dad's house. My dad's in North Naples and Vanderbilt Beach. Spent the next 9 hours with my father.
Yeah.
Man,
that's what we do.
What an incredible human. I'll just never forget that that day, just to see the human spirit like that. This guy doesn't even know my dad.
Right. That's what we do, though. So you ask what I do to stay sober or get through the hard times. That's what I do. When someone calls me and asks for help, because we have that network. We have that network of people who know who we are, and when they need us, we stop what we're doing and we go. And my wife doesn't understand, and my daughter doesn't understand. Daddy's going somewhere. And it's, they don't understand because they're not one of us. You understand. I can see the tears in your eye.
Yeah.
You understand. That work keeps me sober. That 9 hours with that person I've never met in their dirty, stinky apartment with bottles and pizza boxes everywhere is where I go sit and do God's work. That's what keeps me sober. That's what keeps me through the hard times. Because there's nothing that's hard today. Really, there's not. I can lose $200,000. I can get in an argument with my wife. I can fight with my employees. I can lose a huge project. All types of that kind of stuff. None of that is as bad as it was the day before I got sober.
Wow.
In that dark, 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 dark place. So when I have the mindset like that, when I can look back and say, is it as bad as that day before I got sober? No way. My problems today are so luxurious. My dad dying. My grandfather dying. My grandmother dying. You name it. They were actually more like blessings, because I got to be there sober. I got to be the pillar of my family. People could lean on me and trust that I was there to help and sort out all the stuff that needed to be sorted out when those things happen. To be able to be there, like on my dad's deathbed and said him and, I cooked him his last meal, right? And then I said, I got to go home. I got to go back to work. Brian gave me a few days off, I said, but I got to go back and work, Dad, and he said, I want you to do two things. I want you to take care of your mom, and I want you to stay sober. You become a better man than I ever could have dreamed you could be.
Wow.
And you've outdone me in 100,000 ways. Those are the last things he said to me. And I was only 3 years sober at that time.
Wow.
So that was a lot in 3 years' time for him to say all those things. The person you look up to the most, the person you've tried as a son, right? You've tried to make this impression on your father that I'm what you thought I would be, right? To get that on his deathbed, and then he passed right after I left.
Wow.
So I think I drove home that day, fell asleep, went to work, and I got the call when I remember I was at the office with Brian. I got the call, and I was like, I gotta go. My dad just
What
passed.
a gift to your dad. What a gift to your dad.
But I knew he didn't want to die in front of me. Like I learned that.
Yeah.
And so it's cool.
He did it on his terms.
See, was that the hardest thing you've ever gone through? No.
Yeah.
It's the biggest blessing I've ever experienced.
I
What are you talking about? So it's perception. Is how I look at it.
I get it.
Is that the worst thing? Heck no. I got to impress upon my dad 3 years of sobriety, so much so that he thought I had become better than what he ever could have imagined.
Yeah.
He left me with some things I need to do. I need to take care of my mom. I need to stay sober, right?
Yeah. I
got to cook him his last meal. And then I got to be there and close out all the business stuff that came with it. Like all the crap that, I got to be there to do that. You know, I got to be present.
Yeah.
If I was drinking and drugging, I'd have been a wreck. I would have been a wreck. I probably wouldn't have been around. Who knows, but the fact of the matter was that was turned into one of the biggest blessings that I've ever experienced.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And I feel like that's what God does for us is change our perception when we're ready. And he can take anything that's bad and spin it into gold if I'm willing to look at it from a different perspective. And that to me is what I've learned getting to know Christ and getting to know how to live, differently. Is that I can take any situation, I can find the bad in it, or I can spin it into gold and I can find the good in it. Take something from it positive. And so my sobriety that's my story. I took the worst thing you could ever imagine, someone who destroyed their life, and I mean destroyed their life. If you would look at my rap sheet, if you'd look at the stuff that I did, the things that I got, people I hung around with, there's no way someone with my rap sheet should be in the places that I'm at.
Yeah.
If you just looked at the facts, the data, you know, but God has a different plan, you know, and it's funny how things have progressed and all those things that are bad that are still on my record, you know, people look past now because of the person that I've become in the last 14 years.
Yeah.
I remember applying for my first country club, you know, an application for a country club, and we got called. They asked me a couple questions, you know, and I answered them honestly, you know. So they found things in my background they wanted to know, but we just answered them, and then I got approved. And I was like, wow, I got approved. And then my general contractor's license, when I went to get my general contractor's license, they want to know every single thing. So I had my office print out like all my stuff. And so I'm flipping through all these sheets, and my wife is sitting next to me, and she's got to write them into the book, right? So we send into the state for my license. And she was looking at me like, because of course I told my wife, you know, I did this, I did that, I did this, but I didn't write down 29 things, 20, you know, right. We had to flip through every one and write it down, because if you don't put it down, I mean, it's like an admission, or you're trying to hide something, right? So we're literally like going through these, and she's like, "You did what?" And turning to pay, I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't get charged. I wasn't found guilty." You know, I was like, allegedly. See, allegedly they said I did it, but they couldn't prove it. Those cases were dropped, you know. And she was like, "What?" It was just like one after another, and honestly, it was crazy because I worked so hard to get my general contractor's license, and I heard from a couple of my mentors in general contracting who had either taken the test 4 to 5 times and didn't pass it, or took them 5 or 6 times to pass it. And then my biggest construction mentor didn't pass it and uses someone else's license. Like, you know, this thing was like the hardest thing in the world to get, is what people told me, you know? Yeah. And I went in and took it, passed it, 3 different tests on the first try. And I don't know how. I'm going to be honest with you. Other than prayer, I prayed my way through those. And passing the test, I guess, was kind of the easy part, because I went through this part. I'm thinking, there's no way the state's giving me, with all this stuff, there's no way.
Yeah.
We submitted the application, and I remember, you know, when I got the email that we got it, I was like, holy crap. Wow. They just handed me a general contractor's license with my record. Yeah. You know, I'm involved in politics a little bit. And Senator Scott has become a friend of ours. He was Governor Scott at the time, but through my working at St. Matthew's House, he volunteers at St. Matthew's House on Thanksgiving and Christmas. I started going to the same church he went to, unbeknownst to me, because a guy at St. Matt's invited me to the church. Well, we used to sit next to Rick and Ann at church and talk to them and be at Thanksgiving. We became friends. We became, you know, when they were in a church, we talked to them, this, that, and the other. And I was just cleaning out my drawer the other day, and I found a letter he wrote me, you know, as governor, to Blake. You know, if you ever need anything, you got one favor on me. Anything you need, Senator or Governor Rick Scott. You know, it's like, holy crap. You know, and then being friends with law enforcement officers. We talk about my buddy Tim Jarrett. You know, like, I'm surrounded by all the people that I used to be afraid of and run from, and so my past no longer haunts me. You know, and now I'm in these circles where I'm looked up at, I guess you would call it, you know, and people want me around, and they want our businesses to show up, and they want our presence to be there, and they you know, invite us to do all these different things and support their organizations. And, you know, so how does all that happen? You know, and it's God. It has to be God. Because like I said, if you looked at those 29 documents that I had that were against me, you would say that person would never be a member of a country club. That person would never live in the neighborhood he lives in. That person would never, you know, have the respect of the community, you know, and be invited to the places that I'm getting invited to and get to go, you know. So it's crazy.
So much freedom, so much peace, so much. It becomes infectious. I mean, hearing you share, it's like a way. And
I can't take credit for it. I wish I could say it was all me. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not me.
Yeah.
That 29-page document with all that crap in it, that's me.
Yeah.
The person that sits here today is all God, because, you know, obviously I had to do some footwork. Obviously I had to put in the day-to-day, but without him, I couldn't have done it. Without him, I could not have done it. Like, that is the sole reason I sit in this chair today.
Yeah.
And I thank him in the morning, and I thank him at night, and I'm communicating with him throughout the day. Like, it's a huge part of it. Is all.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I try to be the best that I can be. You know, something was brought to my attention recently. by a couple different people because of where I'm headed in these certain circles. And it's funny, you forget, you don't think about it. People said, oh, you said something or you did something. And I was like, that's like such a minor thing. And they're like, but no, people are looking at you differently. People are looking for you to make those mistakes. So they want to catch you slipping. They want to catch you, you know. And I was like, simple, like something silly like that, you know. And I don't realize it sometimes that people are, all eyes are on you, you know.
Yeah.
So that little, I was invited to a breakfast where people kind of pointed a few things out because certain people want to make sure things are going in the right direction with myself and the business. And little things like that. I got friends in my corner that are willing to pull me aside and tell me, hey, just want to make sure that all this stuff is good because where you're going, you know, and remember that people are watching you, you know. So it's like another thing. I got to continue to do good and be on my best behavior and watch what I say, you know.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm the same guy I was 15 years ago. But in my mind, sometimes I forget, you know, that people are looking to me as a community leader and all this other stuff. And you know, so it's like sometimes I got to watch what I say when I'm in public.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I can get wrapped up and chopping it up with the guys and having a good time and say something that, you know, can be harmful or hurtful to me or others.
Does the desire ever creep into your head?
No, I'm blessed, man. God removed that desire 14 years ago. I don't know how. You know, His power is great. And I think, like I said, I was open. I opened like 25 beers on Monday and passed them out. You know what I mean? And it just has no power anymore. It has no. Now I'm not saying if I drank it, I'm gonna be screwed. You know what I mean? But like, just no, I don't have any desire. It's lost all its luster. It's lost all its attraction. You know, it's just something that people do that I don't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
But I'm
thing.
around it. I'm around people who are struggling with it. So it's an eye opener. When you're around people that have a struggle with that kind of stuff, I don't want to do that. I see where it'll take me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Who's had the biggest influence on you in your life?
there's so many people. Brian had a huge impact on me in that period of time. Mm-hmm. My buddy Chad had a massive impact on me in my building my construction business. My buddy Patrick Dearborn, shout out to Dearborn, has had a huge impact on me in the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. Him and I have been really doing a lot of stuff together. Mm-hmm. And then, my pastor, massive impact on the way I see things from a Christian standpoint and a point of view, and how to try to live my life and know that I'm flawed and I'm imperfect and I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. But as long as I own up to that and try to do better and continue to go in the direction of my Creator, I'm going to be all right, So my dad, of course, had a huge impact. My mom, my wife, my father-in-law. I mean, there's a long list.
You have a good relationship with your father-in-law?
I love my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
He is a saint. So he is a father of 3 girls and a husband of an amazing wife. So he lived in a sea of estrogen and just handles it with just ease. I don't know how he does it, so I look up to that. Yeah. Yeah. Plus, he's a very successful businessman, so I look up to that as well. Uh-huh. And he's probably one of the most humble guys I've ever met. Absolutely one of the most humble people I've ever met.
You had to ask him for his daughter's hand.
I did. And they had that same sheet of 29 things on it as well. Yeah. Yeah, that was quite the experience. I remember we were at their house when we first started dating, and we had dated for a little bit. They had met me a few times, and then we went over to their house, and her mom says, "All right, we got something we need to talk about." And she grabs this folder with all these papers in it, and all these mug shots and all this stuff, right? Wow. And my wife's like, "No, don't do it, Mom. This is great." Like she's freaking out. I'm like, "Babe, it's cool. It's cool. There's nothing in there that I'm ashamed of. Right? That stuff doesn't make me who I am today. That stuff is who I used to be. And so I sat down with them and I said, "You don't even need to open that folder up, because I'm going to tell you everything in there is true. Everything that's in those papers is true. It's me. I'm not going to deny it. But that's who I used to be. And at that time, I was 5 years sober. And I said, this is who I am today. And all I'm asking you is to judge me on who I am today, not who I was then. And if I do anything that you think is not suitable to your daughter's likings or your likings or reminds you of this person in this folder, I'll gladly walk away. And that's how that went. And we've been good ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That moment had to be.
Yeah.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall for that.
But that's how I've been taught to address this stuff. It's like, that's not me. That was me. 1,000%. You look at my history, every single bit of it, I did it all plus more. That's only the stuff they caught me on,
Yeah.
I don't talk about the stuff they didn't catch me on.
Yeah.
So that's all the stuff they caught me doing. So yeah, I admit to all of that.
I just remember meeting my wife's parents, and I have always had this feeling that I was way out of her league anyway. Like, I just thought she's way beyond me, and I'm just so blessed and lucky to be in her world. And when I had to meet her parents, I was terrified, because she used to tell me, my mom's very religious, my mom's very religious, which scared the hell out of me growing up Italian Catholic. Like, I haven't done that real well. I haven't been a very good Catholic.
Who has?
Yeah, right. I certainly did a good job of beating myself up. Like, you don't have it. She's going to quiz me, and I'm not going to have the answers, and I don't know the first thing that I should know. And when I met her, I had never met someone more loving, kind, and extraordinary in my life. I'd never seen somebody so unjudgmental. She just loved me the way I was, exactly the way I was, with all the past that I thought was screwed up and wrong and out of whack, and just, it was a level of love that I had never experienced from someone who I really needed their approval. I begged for it, and it was.
Yeah, my wife and I have a great understanding. She knows who I was, she knows who I am, and then we talk about who I want to be all the time, where I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
And she supports me in every single bit of that.
Yeah.
She's the best. She's my homemaker. She makes sure the house is good and clean and food is ready. And when I come home, I can be dad and I can be husband. And she lets me do all this crazy stuff. She lets me travel and do food reviews and create these crazy ideas. And she supports them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. She does, man. And like, until you've experienced that, like, love, that someone supports you no matter what you're doing.
Yes.
I'm like, babe, I got an idea, because I'm an idea guy. I'm a creative. I'll be in the shower. And I'm like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And she's, okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
Because I do have a way of selling things. I do have, like, once I buy into myself, once I buy into the idea I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do it better than I can possibly try. I'm not going to, like, I'm going to go 100%. She knows that. Like, if I say I'm starting a construction business, she's like, all right, let's go. She knows I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to work 18 hours a day until it's successful,
Yeah.
And same thing. She's, she always supports my crazy ideas.
When you have a partner like that allows you to be more of you, you get to be another level of yourself, because she's there supporting you, and you get to be more of you. That's a partnership.
It's another thing, though. It's like accountability. Like, it's like those friends that pull me aside and say, hey, man, just want to check, make sure everything's good. These are some things that were spoken about you, tighten up.
Yeah.
There are people that are tapping my shoulder and just reminding me to be a better person, right? It's like the same thing with my wife. She says, I'm okay with you doing this. So it's like, she's okay with me. That puts, like, enough fire in my butt. I better make it right. My wife just said it's okay.
Yeah.
I can't disappoint her.
Yes.
I can't. I can't come home and say, it failed. So now I'm going to do it. Like, her and I made a decision when I was working at Crave to start the handyman business. She helped me build the website. She created the logo. She's the brains behind it. She's behind the brand. She made it look good. She's the one that makes things look professional, upscale. Don't say this. She's the one to tell me, don't say that stuff on camera. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't, where's your shirt like that? Don't change your logo. She's all about the look behind the scenes. She don't want no part of the lights.
Right. Yeah.
But she's supporting 100,000% of it.
Yeah.
So I can't disappoint her.
And you're a better version of yourself because of that.
1,000%.
Yeah.
When someone's got your back, it helps.
Yeah.
I can stick my neck out a little farther. I'm willing to try something, try something a little different.
Your mother's alive, right?
She is.
What's her name?
Julie.
How would she describe you?
My mom is a trip, man. My mom loves her son more than anything in the world, I think. She loves her daughter, too, don't get me wrong. But that son and mother relationship is a bond like no other. She supported me in the trenches. No matter how bad I was, no matter how strung out I was, if I needed $50, I'd have some sob story of how I just needed to get by or whatever it was. She would always meet me and support me when she knew it was probably killing me. She would still do it. And now she works for me.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Now she works for me. She's the best employee I got. She's the biggest supporter. She sees the good in everything. She doesn't see bad in stuff. Well, that's a lie. She can be negative sometimes, but for the most part, she's probably the happiest. I know she's the biggest supporter, but she's the happiest of everything that's going on. Between my daughter and our family and our businesses and all the stuff and my wife, and she's just she couldn't be happier.
How did your parents get from the Midwest? You were born, where were you born? In
Champaign, Illinois. House of Pain.
How'd they get down here?
Dad sold a couple businesses and was just kind of going through some probably midlife crisis stuff, honestly, looking back at it, think a little differently, and came down here and got into insurance and real estate, stuff like that.
Moved your family down here, you and your sister down here? How old were you then?
I was 15.
In high school?
Yeah.
Tough time to move.
Horrible.
Yeah.
That was probably a huge part of my demise.
Yeah.
My demise was start up north too, but I was always crazy. Yeah. I was kind of involved in some gang stuff and stuff. I was starting to get involved in that kind of stuff up north.
Yeah.
I think they were doing it to get me away, but they brought me down to the mecca of crime. Of crime and drug trafficking and all types of stuff. And the intentions were good, right? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah. Their intentions were good. You know, I look back as a parent, as a sober person. Your parents do the best that they can in that moment. It's not their fault. Yeah. They didn't make me do anything that I did. I did everything that I wanted to do because I wanted to do it. There's no one to blame but myself. In that moment, at 14 or 15, I was blaming them. I hate you, blah, 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 blah. You brought me to this place. I don't know anybody. I was a star football player. I was this, I was that. My girlfriend's up north, and now she's dating somebody else. You know, they were the enemy. It was just another reason, another trigger to drink and drug the way I wanted to drink and drug. And to run from me, to hide from me. Hide from growth and development and that kind of stuff. That's what alcohol and drugs really hindered, was my growth and development.
So you transferred to what high school down here?
Barron. 3 days. I went for 3 days. And that was it. Found a group of people that go to the beach every day and started hanging out with them. I'm like, you gave me a car, a driver's license, and a pass to the beach. I'm not going to school. Hard-headed. Yeah.
Well, you got so
look
much,
at me now.
Yeah, that's what you got so much going on right now. You got irons everywhere. You got a lot of stuff happening right now. And which how do you divide up your time? How do you know where to focus?
Time
management. Got a lot going on.
It was something that Brian taught us, man. Something I learned from him was how to schedule my day. Like I told you, my routine. I'm up at 4, prayer, meditation, coffee by myself before anybody wakes up. I do my cold plunge, my breathing, my grounding, my outside breath work, my biohacking stuff. I hit the gym in the morning. I go to work. Before I even do all that, the day before, I've wrote out everything I need to do. And like right now, I got to go because I got an estimate in Bonita. But like I write it all out. I plan it all out. And then after my schedule, I write out a list of things that I need to accomplish. And I used to get so bummed out if I couldn't accomplish the 6 things on my list or the 9 things or whatever. Now I just accept my progress, right? If I get 4 things scratched off of 6, it's a good day. Yeah. Sometimes I get 1. Yeah. And it is what it is. That schedule got changed. Stuff happened. I get phone calls. There's a fire on a job. There's a water leak. There's you know, and I've learned to adapt. But the structure of a planned day, I plan my day every single day.
Yeah.
I know I got a food review at 11:30 to 3 o'clock in Fort Myers. I know I got to meet a client in Bonita. I know I got to be on a job site. I got an estimate in South Naples. I got to be at a luncheon. I got to be at a podcast. I mean, it's all scheduled
Good
out.
structure.
Yeah, structure.
Keeps you locked in. Yeah.
That's what keeps me successful, really.
Yeah.
Structure and discipline.
I know you got to get going soon, so I'm going to cut to for fun questions.
Fun questions. I like fun questions.
If your life were a movie, what would the opening soundtrack be?
Oh, man. If my life were a movie, geez, there's so many great ones. I'll have to come back to that because there's so many songs, and right now I'm drawing a blank. But there's
all right.
probably
Well, I'll let you soak in that one. What music's playing in your car while you're in the zone?
Well, I listen to a lot of different things. So it depends on if I'm like I'm at the gym. I like EDM, like loud, fast trance, house music. I spend a lot of time in clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's my job. So
so
that brings me back to that time of life where I was really young and exciting and the party guy and everyone wanted me around and I was hanging out with celebrities and stuff. So that's my gym music. My day-to-day music is either hip hop or country, one of the two. When I moved to Florida, that was the biggest thing that surprised me, that people listen to rap and country.
Yeah.
So up north, it was you were either like listening to rap or you were a redneck. Those two didn't really mix. Down here, they were like together.
Right.
So those two that's my kind of like my daily. And then like when I'm relaxing at the house with my wife, it's all old school Italian music. She's the Franks, the Deans, that whole genre. So that's like when I get home, my wife's cooking, there's Italian music playing in the background, or Rod Stewart, or good for the soul music.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of it.
And any artist in the country genre or the EDM genre, because I have a Spotify playlist for all our guests, and I like to sprinkle it with whatever.
I listen to a lot of Armin van Buuren when I'm in the gym. I listen to, everybody that's popular in country. I mean, any of them. I like all of them, man.
Yeah.
Hip hop. I'm an old school hip hop. So I mean, I love the new guys. You know what I mean? I respect the genre. I respect the culture and the music. But I'm a Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, Tupac.
Yeah.
I'm an old school guy.
Yeah.
Most Def. I like the old stuff.
Good. I got something to fill up in the podcast,
Dr. Dre,
in the playlist now. Okay.
Yeah.
How about books or podcasts?
Books and podcasts. I read a ton of books. I mean, my bookshelves are full of entrepreneurial books. What is it? Napoleon Hill, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So many.
Which one do you think had the biggest impact on you?
Oh my gosh. There was a book I read. What was the name of it? It was a really good book. Darn. It was weird. It's someone. I have to get you the name. I'll find it at the house. Right.
Great.
It's a book, and you're told to read it, and then there's a part of the book that's got like 9 or 11 pages, and you're supposed to read it. Part of the book tells you to read that part for like 100 days in a row, and if you skip, you got to start over. That book was like, it changed my life. Just one of those books. God, I can't remember the name of it. I'm drawing blanks today. But
well, we'll have it up by the time you...
Yeah. I'll text it over to you guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
What's your coffee order?
Right now it's pumpkin spice. Half of the pumps, I don't like all that sweetness, but I'm a pumpkin spice guy in the fall. I like all the holiday drinks. I'm a peppermint, guy during Christmas time. But my standard drink is just coffee with a little bit of cream and a touch of sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this could go multiple ways. If you weren't a builder, a podcaster, a media specialist, and all those things, what do you think you'd be doing today?
I don't know. I mean, I'm that's the beauty of life. I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
I just added this food review thing. So like I'm getting quote unquote paid to eat. So that's phenomenal. I love building homes and remodeling places. So I'm doing what I love. And then I love doing my YouTube and my podcast stuff. So you couldn't ask me to paint a better picture for doing what I love to do.
You got it all covered. I love that. It's genuine too. I can tell 100%. What's something about you that most people don't know but should?
That most people don't know?
Or do you have a hidden talent?
That's probably that I was always been an entertainer. And that thing that's come up recently, that I used to do magic when I was a kid for shows.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to entertain people. So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it makes sense for what I do, but that was a hidden talent and something I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did talent shows, I played the drums, and I did magic.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do magic first and then do the drums at the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was two different shows. I had two different talents. So on the talent shows, I'd want to do my magic as one show. Yeah. And I had a partner that I did that with, and then I wanted to do the drum. I wanted to be like I was a drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do two random quick. I almost feel like we have to make this a two-parter because I didn't get the other half of your life, what's going on right now. But we'll do two of these, and then I'll got one more question for you.
All right.
All right, read them out loud and answer away.
Have you ever collected anything? If so, what? I collect watches. I'm a watch guy. I like watches. What is the longest distance you've ever walked or run? So I used to run track when I was a kid. So probably 5 miles.
5 miles?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, probably 5 miles.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, last question.
All right.
What do you love about your life?
Everything. Everything. My daughter, my wife, my businesses, my friends. I love everything about life. I wake up in the morning and thank God for the life that I've been given today. Absolutely love every single bit of it. My friends, my family, opportunities, to wake up every day and have an opportunity. Like I was thanking God this morning, like, thank you, God. I'm going to go tell my story to somebody. I don't know what they're going to ask me, but I'm going to go tell my story, and I'm going to go do an estimate, and I'm going to go home. We have some countertops being delivered at my house. I mean, like, my life is great. You know, from where I was to where I am, there's nothing but blessings.
Yeah, God bless you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate you. I can see why Brian said, I have to meet you. Yeah, it was real important to him.
Yeah.
I meet you.
He's
and
awesome, man.
I get why, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Really
So I'm doing shameless plug. I'm doing a business and mental health luncheon with the David Lawrence Center on September 25th. If you don't have your tickets, go get your tickets. So that's coming up soon.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So that's I'm a speaker at the it's just called Voices of Recovery. David Lawrence is doing it at the Naples Players.
Okay.
So there's going to be a group of 4 people: Scott Borges, the CEO, myself, Jen from Fashionistas, and one other person. I can't remember. I feel bad for that, but she's on the flyer as well. So we're all going to speak about our businesses and our struggles and or our stories of how we got from, where we are to where we were to where we are, and then a luncheon. So I'm one of the speakers, so I'm honored to do that. And then also one of the sponsors for Brian's event. Yeah. For the
that's in October.
Yeah, that's in October. So that's the from tragedy to triumph. So I'm one of the many great sponsors of that event as well. Obviously, the David Lawrence Center plays a very special part in my heart. Yes. Because of me getting sober, I've been an activist for them, and I've done so many different community projects with them and helped support them in so many ways since I got sober. Yeah.
Well, I want you to know that whatever you're up to and whatever events you have like that, we're in full support. We can support you in any way we can.
Awesome.
Whether it's in services, product baskets, any way we can to help the event be successful, whatever we can do. No, absolutely. We're an automatic yes for whatever we can do for you. Yeah. And also for your wife, what's your wife's name?
Kristen.
We have a day of pampering here for her too, because women tend to like our pampering a little bit more than us
She'll
guys
love that.
But yeah, it's our a gift to you. And
she needs it. I put her through hell. We just remodeled our house.
I figured. So. Right.
I got to fire the contractor. I'm a month and a half late on my own house.
Oh, so, that's not good. You got to go home.
Countertops are going in today. That's it. We're done, babe. We're done.
Yeah, send her my love, and Marina reach out to her to send her our blessing, to
Perfect.
get her set up for all the goodness.
Awesome, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the Spotlight on Good People or listen to the Spotlight on Good People. Whichever one you are, we appreciate you. If you're enjoying it or if you're getting something out of it, could you show us a little love and, do what everybody always asks, subscribe, like, share. And also, if you know somebody who should be featured, they're one of those good people who we need to shine a light on, let us know. Love to have them on as a guest. Thanks. Blake Becker is living proof that purpose is forged in fire. He's a visionary, not because of what he builds with his hands, but because of what he's rebuilt with his heart. Through recovery, faith, and relentless growth, Blake has transformed pain into power, and now he's lighting the path for others to rise. Whether you've known him as a chef, a contractor, a mentor, or a friend, what you're really witnessing is a man who's chose integrity over ego, humility over hype, and compassion over convenience. Blake, thank you for the way you live, the way you lead, and the way you love.